finally, Paul, we've got The Guardian. What's on the cover there?
More than 100 Palestinians die in chaos surrounding Gaza aid convoy. So Israeli military rejects claims that it fired on a crowd and blames a deadly crush. So there's two sides of the story here. There was aid being delivered into Gaza, and from the Palestinian perspective, they're saying as soon as civilians started crowding around this aid truck, the Israelis opened fire. The Israelis are saying, and 100 people were killed, by the way, the Israelis are saying that, no, that's not true. There was a crush, and that's what caused the death. All I know is all of this is totally harrowing and quite grim, and I'm no longer sure what to believe, because it's just become this sort of tit for tat, and we see these messages. Of course, I see it's in The Guardian, so they're leaning toward the Palestinian side. Had it been in the Mail, we'd have probably seen, you know, the fact that they died in a crush.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe anymore. All I know is this is just totally beyond the point where I can imagine how bad this is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of this, Steve? Because when I watched the video, and the explanation to me of the crush looked much more plausible than people being fired on, and the reason for the crush is actually pretty damning for Hamas. So people swarmed out around the trucks, and there was a big crush because they were desperate to get the aid. Because if they don't, then Hamas take the aid, and Hamas don't distribute the aid to the Palestinian people. They see if they can make something that blows up out of it that they can fire at Israelis.
I mean, the point of the desperation being there is surely, from anyone's point of view, true. The level of desperation that these people have. So no wonder they head straight to those trucks. I mean, I saw someone on TV earlier on saying you need an investigation to get to the bottom of why there was a stampede, whether it was the desperation, whether people stampede after hearing gunshots. But Paul's right. There's so much misery around here because this is war, isn't it? This is the problem with having to talk, do a funny show, and these are the headlines.
Well, it's funny, this is one of the wars that we've got the most footage of in history, and it's still incredibly confusing.
Not just that. There was some lovely footage of the first Gulf War, I remember. Remember the dark and the Scud missiles and the green and all that sort of stuff. However, what we got now is social media.
And, of course, then the WikiLeaks footage came out and revealed that it wasn't such a clean cut. These cruise missiles weren't going down streets and turning corners and taking out targets all the time.
Yeah, I remember thinking at the time, because it was 1991, the first one. I was sort of 12 years old. I remember thinking how cool these missiles were without any context of what they were doing and why they were doing it. But what we've got now is just endless opinion, and we have to stop occasionally. And when I read this, I hadn't seen the footage. We still have to stop occasionally and go, these are still humans. Whatever side they're on, whatever's happening, whether they died in the crush, whether they got shot upon, these are still humans. And it's just, I mean, what a mess.
Yeah, absolutely true.